Welcome to eForms Wizard. Today we're going to revisit the concept of saving a client file as well as sharing a client file, sometimes referred to as a client folder. We're going to demonstrate how those are done very briefly with the spirit of focusing on the import function. And the import function would be used most frequently in the event that you wanted to share or save a client folder for others that might want to pull them into their instance of eForms Wizard and work with them. So it's a great way to pass files back and forth between users and back and forth between devices. So as you might recall from another video that we have provided, the Save As function allows you to do a number of different things. You can, of course, save the current form that you're working on as a PDF or as a proprietary AVYST folder. So in this case, we would be actually saving the watercraft section application. We can also save the entire set of forms as a PDF and a proprietary AVYST file. In this particular case, it would be all of the documents that I'm working with here for Sarah McNeil. I can also at any point in time select specific ones that I'd like to save, and then my option will become available to save selected as PDFs or as AVYST files. I can do the same and have the same set of options available to me when I go to share. The only difference between saving and sharing is saving allows you to save these documents to a local place on your machine, so your PC, or you could save them perhaps to a network folder so that others could then get access to it and easily import that client from a folder as opposed to sharing them through some other mechanism like copying them to a flash drive or perhaps emailing them. So again, save is very, very easy to do and very convenient, as I'm going to demonstrate to you here, to save these documents as a complete application set out on your local computer or, of course, out to OneDrive or some sort of a network device that others can get access to. If I wanted to share these documents, again, the only difference is I would then be taking this complete application set or the documents that I selected or a single application for this client, and I would be distributing it via email. So in this particular case, I would go to share, and up would come email or an email message that I could then send to a colleague or to myself. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and send it to myself. Now when I receive that email or my colleague receives that email, or let's say that this is the way that I wanted to share this client application with another one of my devices so I could work on it from perhaps my tablet, I would simply now open up that email message, and I would go ahead and save that particular document to my desktop. And now that document is available for me to import or a colleague to import had I shared it with a colleague. So a very practical application of this is, again, I am working with a client application. I want to share it with others that they can then contribute content to or enrich that application. And then they can do that by importing it back in to their session of eForms Wizard. And once they're done, they can then share it back with me. Or I can share it with myself so that I can move that file from my local desktop to a tablet or some other type of device. So let me briefly hit on the import function. It's very easy to do. You simply go to File, Import Client Folder. I could navigate to that file that someone had shared with me via email, which is now on my desktop. Or I can import another client folder that was perhaps shared out on a local drive that I now have access to. So in this particular case, I'm going to go ahead and import the client called Jake Hudson, whom I've worked with in the past, and shared it with a colleague. Now, had I not worked with Jake Hudson in the past, it would go ahead and simply import Jake Hudson's file. But because I have, I get this warning message that is going to overwrite the existing Jake Hudson that I've been working with. I'm going to go ahead and approve it and say OK. And it's going to go ahead and update my clients to Jake Hudson, and I get all of his applications so that now I can contribute to this and enrich it. Once I'm done, I can then go and share back with a colleague just by simply going to share. And again, I would be prompted with an email to go ahead and send this to my colleague. Or I could save it, as we demonstrated earlier, to some sort of a network drive where my colleague would then be able to have access to it, and they would go through the import function themselves again. And all they have to do is simply select the item or the client that they want to import and hit open, and eForms Wizard will open that client so it can be worked with. That concludes my demonstration of how to, again, save and share files back and forth to others, to other devices, and then go through the process of importing them along the way so that they can be enriched by the person who's working with them. Remember that anybody who you want to be able to edit those applications must have eForms Wizard installed on their desktop. Thank you.